Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Entitled Parents. Our first post is by Tenacity Bird. Entitled Dad called the police on me for sitting in a pool. This just happened today and I am so mad. I, 28M, autistic, just wanted to spend some time relaxing in our local pool. I had black goggles and liked to swim underwater. I also like to simply rest along the poolside and chill. Also, I was the only adult male without any children in this pool, which is clearly for everyone to use. Shallow at one end, deep at the other, etc. I'm just resting by the poolside when a manager, not even a lifeguard, comes over to me and tells me my presence and behavior is making someone uncomfortable. He explained that someone had complained that me diving underwater and simply sitting by the side of the pool was apparently unacceptable, because I was apparently doing this to peep on children. He told me this in a non-accusatory tone and seems to sound as confused as me about this. At first, I thought I was upsetting some over-worried parent, and being a parent myself, I felt horrible. I explained that I was just relaxing by the poolside, offered to take off my goggles to put them at ease, and wanted to apologize to this person. The manager seemed to accept this and presumably went back to the parent to let them know I was sorry for upsetting them. About 10 minutes passed and the manager was back, telling me the police had arrived. I was shocked and asked if it was about me. The manager said yes and that they wanted to talk to me. This is when I meet the entitled dad for the first time. Big guy, maybe early to mid-30s and pretty buff looking. This is the only time he spoke to me and all he said was, "You better go quietly or else I'll tell everyone here that you like kids." He walked away before I could reply and the manager led me out the pool. I felt tempted to flip this Kevin the bird as I walked by, but I kept my cool and just left. I get to the locker room and two policewomen are waiting. Fortunately for me, they were really nice and friendly with me the whole time. After grabbing a towel, they started asking me what happened and what I was doing. I was honest and I told them I was just trying to relax and that I had no idea I was upsetting this person just by being there. I even told them I was autistic, which led to one of the officers telling me that they had a family member who was also autistic. They then asked me for my details to run me through their database. While that went on, the entitled dad walked by and one of the officers asked to talk to him. He agreed and they went elsewhere. I got changed back into my clothes, and as I was coming out of the changing room, the entitled dad was in my way with his back to me. I couldn't quite hear what he was saying to the other people in the room, but I did hear him rather loudly order his kids to stay put while he went to get changed. He walked off without seeing me and left the locker room. The police stayed with me in the lobby until their database came back. Of course, it came back that I had no history of crime and the gym staff had told the officers I had no history of disturbing the other people and I was free to go. However, the entitled dad was hanging around near the back of the lobby watching me. The police saw this too and offered to give me a ride home since I walked to the gym. I accepted since I was pretty shell-shocked the whole ordeal and worried this guy would try something on my way home. In all, this was a pretty scary experience and I'm still shaking typing this. I'm just glad the manager and the police were professional enough to let me speak my piece. I should mention that there were other parents in the pool who didn't care about my presence. Another dad and his kids were playing right next to me and he didn't care. Our next post is by See You Later. Entitled Mother got mad at the zoo because my boyfriend refused to fake kidnapping her kid. Yes, as wild as the title sounds, me and my boyfriend were at the zoo enjoying our day as we have some very rare sunshine in England. It was packed with screaming kids and we were standing at the lion cage. There was a kid screaming because no one could see the lions and the kid's, I'm guessing mother, turned around and said to the kid, "If you don't stop crying, that scary bad man next to you is going to kidnap you and take you away and you will never see anyone you love again." I was like, what the heck? I overheard this and started laughing because I was so confused. My boyfriend just ignored it, and then the woman tapped him and said, "Go on, tell her that you will take her away if she doesn't stop crying." When my boyfriend said no, she got mad at us, said we are selfish people, and it's clear that we don't have kids of our own, or else we would know what it's like and help her. She then proceeded to call us more names before grabbing the kid and storming off. What is wrong with people, honestly? As if we'd pretend to kidnap a child. Our next post is by Abbreviations Flaky. Sister-in-law freaks out because she feels my boyfriend and I are denying her child food. My boyfriend's family came to town for a week and stayed with us. We made sure to have clean towels, fresh sheets, a stocked fridge, etc. Unfortunately, 2 days after they got here, my boyfriend got laid off. Since then, he's been really down in the dumps and grumpy. My boyfriend's family doesn't have the best manners. They leave dirty plates behind, they don't clean up after their kids' messes, and such. I tried my best to ignore it and just clean up after them when they weren't home. Today, during lunch, we served lasagna. After we finished eating, my boyfriend's sister got up and started packing lasagna for her kids to have for dinner. She packed what her kids left over and was adding more on top. They weren't going to be spending the night with us, so she wanted to have a quick and easy dinner ready for them. I told my boyfriend that if there wasn't enough lasagna left, that I can order him dinner and not to worry. My boyfriend got up and asked his sister how much she was taking because he wanted to make sure that him and I also have food for dinner. Again, he's been very stressed about money since getting laid off. She screamed at him, "How dare you deny food for my child?" and picked up her things and left. Everything escalated out of nowhere, and she packed her things and went to another rental. She felt like we were denying her child of food. I began crying and ran into my room because unfortunately, I don't do well in these types of situations. I grew up around an emotionally abusive family, and these events are really triggering for me. She told my boyfriend that she did not feel welcome, and she felt we were being rude to her. Am I at fault for making her feel unwelcome, or is she just an entitled parent? She said that I was super rude for making that initial comment in the first place, the one where I told my boyfriend not to worry if we do not have any food left. Our next post is by Asian Stranger. My parents' small business is being review bombed because I stood up to a child abuser. Hi, my parents have owned a small Chinese restaurant for the past 25 years. Recently, I spent a day working there as a waiter, and for a big party of 11 people came in with their children. Their children were pretty rowdy and running around on top of our benches. I politely asked the parents to calm their children down, as they were causing a disturbance and could hurt themselves. The parents made a half-hearted attempt to calm them down, but the children returned to running around the benches. Unfortunately, one of their kids fell and hit his head. The kid was stunned, holding his head, and looked like he was in massive pain. Others came to his care as well as his mother, but the father told his child to get over it and to suck it up. When the child started crying, all while he attempted to rush out the door, he didn't even try to look after his kid when he got hurt. I watched all of this silently until the father was pushing his kid to get out of the restaurant. At that point, I had had enough and told the father he could try being more empathetic to his child. He told me to mind my own business, and I continued to repeat how his child had just hurt himself and that he needed attention rather than neglect. The father just kept repeating, "Mind your own business," as his family and friends were trying to hold him back from approaching me. I was behind the front counter the whole time. I spoke sternly and never swore. I tried to be as professional as I could while trying to make my point. Now they're review bombing my parents' restaurant, and I can't help but think this is all my fault. I've tried responding as the business with context, but they kept deleting the review whenever I respond, and now they keep writing new ones saying I deleted their reviews. Is there anything I can do to prevent review bombing? I don't want my parents to suffer because of my actions. Thank you for any responses. Here is the context I replied with for their reviews. This customer's child fell and hit his head. He was stunned and was holding his head. He looked like he was in a lot of pain. The father's response was to tell his kid to get over it and suck it up, and to rush out of the door because he wanted to get home. All the while, the kid was not responding to him, and others were coming to his care, instead of his own parent. Our waiter asked the father to be more empathetic to his child who had just hurt themselves in a confrontational but in no way physical or aggressive manner. Yes, our waiter did become confrontational, but he was in no way physical or aggressive to the customer. Our waiter stood behind the counter at all times and did not swear. He spoke sternly to the man, making him be more empathetic to his child. The man had to be held back by his friends and family from approaching our waiter. The customers were also previously warned by our waiter not to let their kids run around on top of our benches as it could be dangerous. The parents made an attempt to tell them to stop, but sometime later, the children were back to playing on the benches and unfortunately hurt themselves. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.